Glad to meet you all in this new video. Today we will learn the summary of the lesson A Long Walk to Freedom from Unit 6, Part A from the 9th Standard English textbook, SSC Board, Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. On to the summary now. You know pretty well the theme of this unit is freedom. In this lesson, we learn about a person. He is none other than Nelson Mandela, who fought for the freedom of Africa, South Africa. On to the summary now. A long walk to freedom. A long walk to freedom means the time, the journey, the time taken, the struggle to get the freedom was a long tenure, a long period of time with lot of patience, with lot of hope, with lot of determination. They had walked in order to get the freedom. We'll get into the lesson. In life, every man has twin obligations. Obligations to his family, to his parents, to his wife and children. And he has an obligation to his people, his community and his country. So every man has a choice. How much he loves his country, that much he does for the country. How much he loves his family, that much he does for his family. So it's according to the wish and will, and every man has a choice to do for his family as well as to his country. In a civil and humane in the sense full of human nature, okay, wherein you see generosity, mercy and all the same, where human is considered as a human being with humanitarian basis they are considered. In a civil and humane society, each man is able to fulfill these obligations according to his own inclinations. How much he wants. Inclination means how much he is interested, that much he will do to the country, that much to the family. And his abilities, how much his income is there, according to that he will plan. But in a country like South Africa, it is not possible to do both. He cannot think of both his family and his country. That is, if he thinks of his family, he cannot think of his country. If he thinks of his country, he cannot think of his family. Why? Because a person who thought about the country, he has to live a life of isolation, separation. Okay, here we see in South Africa, man of color means who is dark in color, who is black in color. Okay, in South Africa, man of color who attempted means tried, who attempted to live as a human being was punished and isolated. Isolated means separated from the others. Okay, and he who wanted to fulfill his duty to his people was inevitably ripped. That means whoever tried to struggle for the freedom, struggle for the equality between the blacks and the whites. So first let me tell you that there exists racial discrimination in South Africa. That is, the blacks are treated as lesser than the whites. They are not given equal opportunity just as they were actually. Now it is not the situation. At that level, in those days when Nelson Mandela was struggling for freedom, the blacks were ill treated. They were not treated equal to the whites. They were treated lesser than them. So when a black tried to ask for equality, he used to be separated from the family. That means if he is going against the rules and regulations, whatever restrictions are there for the blacks, he would immediately be imprisoned or he would be searched by the police. So in order to escape from the police, they have to automatically hide in the forest. So when they are hiding in the forest, automatically they cannot live with the family. So a man has to make a choice, either to do something for the country or do something for the family. Doing for both country and the family is highly impossible. It's just impossible. It was just impossible in South Africa. Okay, and here a man who tried to fulfill his duty to his people was inevitably ripped from his family, was separated from his family and his home, and was forced to live a life apart. Apart means away. a twilight existence of secrecy and rebellion. He has to live a life of a secret life away from the knowledge of the other people. He has to hide and live. He would be considered as a terrorist. Okay. I did not in the beginning choose to place my people above my family, but in attempting to serve my people, I found that I was prevented from fulfilling my obligation as a son, a brother, a father, and a husband. He says that it was not that from my birth I wanted to do something for the country, struggle for the freedom. All those things were not there in me. But when I thought of the people doing something, attempting means trying, when I was trying to serve my people, do something good for my people, I was automatically into that task. I got so involved in the task that I automatically got separated from my family. I could not fulfill my duties as a father, as a son, as a brother, or a husband. I automatically failed to do all those duties because I had to live such a life. I was forced to live such a life. I was not born with a hunger to be free. I was born free in every way that I could know. So it's not right from a childhood that I was a slave or something, some restrictions were there. No, I was born very much free to run in the fields near my mother's hut. I can run anywhere I want. Free to swim in the clear stream. That means I can swim in the water that ran through my village. In my village there ran a stream, in that I can swim anytime I want. Free to roast mealies under the stars. I can roast any, that's a food grain. Okay, so they can roast it and eat, and ride the broad backs of slow moving bulls. I can ride the animals over there. So I enjoyed the freedom. As a boy, I had all the freedom that a boy needs to have. As long as I obeyed my father and abided by the customs of my tribe, I was not troubled by the laws of man or God. So what he says that unless and until I crossed, I started questioning, what is this? Why this freedom is less? Why are we being treated like this? Till I questioned, I had no worries in my life. Till I obeyed my father, whatever restrictions were there, all those restrictions I followed. I had no trouble in my life, no problem in my life. I had no thirst for freedom. I was just as free as I could be. It was only when I began to learn that my boyhood freedom was just an illusion. Illusion means it's like a virtual image. It was just like, illusion means generally they call it like an optical illusion. It appears to be, but it is not there. Generally you see in the summer season, that too in the May month, you see on the road it appears there is water. But when you go, there is no water over there. That is the mirage. Okay. Generally in the deserts also, when the travelers travel in the deserts, there appear that there is a water in front of them. But as they go, they don't see the water. This appearance of water is a mirage. Actually, it doesn't exist. It appears to exist because of the optical illusion. So here he says it appeared to be a freedom, but it was not a freedom. Okay. It was something artificial, something very duplicate. Okay, so it was only when I began to learn that my boyhood freedom was just an illusion, when I discovered as a young man that my freedom had already been taken from me, that I began to hunger for it. So as he realized that already his freedom has been taken and he had never realized it, that is when he started yearning for the freedom. At first, as a student, I wanted freedom only for myself. Generally, you see youth, they are generally about themselves, their self. Okay, so that is how Nelson Mandela was also, and he thought it's sufficient if he gets freedom for himself. The transitory freedoms of being able to stay out at night, read what I pleased, and go where I chose. So generally youth, what they generally like is they want to roam around and come home whenever they want, that is in the late nights, and they want to roam around with the friends, read whatever they want. So that is how Nelson Mandela also wanted. Transitory means a time being, a temporary freedom. And then later, as a young man in Johannesburg, I yearned for the basic and honorable freedoms of achieving my potential, of earning my keep, of marrying and having a family, the freedom not to be obstructed in a lawful life. Later, as he grew up as a young man, his thirst for freedom increased. He started yearning. Yearning means longing. There was a desire, an unfulfilled desire which was pushing him. He yearned for the basic and honorable freedoms of earning, achieving my potential, means getting a job with accordance to his talent. Whatever he deserves according to his talent, he should get. That is what he was yearning for. Of earning my keep means to have some savings. Of marrying and having a family, all these things he wanted to have. And generally it was a fact that the blacks were not given much income. Their salary was very less. It was very limited. It was kept such that the blacks never come up in life. They ever remain in the lower rung of the economics. They were financially very much down. Okay, so they kept it that way. That is why Nelson Mandela says he wanted to keep something. That means the earning should be more. When can you save money? When the all our expenses are gone and then we have some extra money, then only we can save. When the salary is just sufficient to take care of our basic needs, where can we save? So he says, I wanted to save some money. That means I wanted some salary, a good salary which I deserve, not more than what I deserve, but that was not given to me. But then I slowly saw that not only was I not free, but my brothers and sisters were not free. Later I realized, is it only me who is undergoing all this differentiation, this discrimination? No, along with me, those who look like me, those who were black like me, all of them were treated like this. I saw that it was not just my freedom that was curtailed. Curtailed means blocked. Curtailed means cut short. It was not my freedom that was being shortened, lessened, but the freedom of everyone who looked like I did. So that is when I joined the African National Congress, and that is when the hunger for my own freedom became the greater hunger for the freedom of my people. So when I realized that not only me, there were many people like me, those who look like me, everyone is undergoing the same situation. He joined the African National Congress. That is the group of people, all the people who wanted to strive for the for equality. They all gathered together. So he also joined that group, so that to strengthen that group and struggle for equality. It was this desire for freedom of my people to live their lives with dignity and self-respect that animated my life. Animated means that moved my life, that transformed a frightened young man into a bold one, that drove a law-abiding attorney to become a criminal. Now this desire to bring equality to my people made a complete transformation in my life. Actually, I was a very frightened, a very shy young man. Later, when I wanted to strive for the freedom of my people, I became a bold one. I became a courageous one. I became the one who spoke. Okay, and that drove a law-abiding man, attorney, to become a criminal. Actually, I was a law-abiding citizen, and I have become a criminal now. That is, the police is searching for me because I am against the rules and regulations that they have formulated. That turned a family-loving husband into a man without a home. Actually, I was a family-loving man. All I knew was my family. I loved it so much. But now I have to live like a man without a home. That is, I had to live a life of secrecy and rebellion. And then that forced a life-loving man to live like a monk. Monk means one who give up all their desire, one who give away everything. They, like, generally we see people going into the forest. Generally the sannyasis, the sages, the rishis, the munis, they give away all the worldly desires and they go into the forest. So that is how he says, I had given up all these things. I had no more desire and all these things. Actually, previously I was a life-loving man. Now I am living like a monk. Monk is generally Buddhist monk, they say. I am no more virtuous of self-sacrificing than the next man, but I found that I could not even enjoy the poor and limited freedoms I was allowed when I knew my people were not free. So he says that it's not I am a great man, I have only changed all this. Along with me, many people have also changed, and there were certain limited freedom that was given to us because we were making the struggle, but I could not compromise, I could not be satisfied and stop struggling because many of my people were still not free. So I cannot just be happy with whatever freedom I was given. That was not possible for me. And then he says that freedom is indivisible. The chains on any one of my people were the chains on all of them. The chains on all of my people were the chains on me. He says freedom cannot be divided between people. For me, little freedom. For them, little freedom. The others. No, it's not possible. If the freedom is given, it should be given to anyone. If I don't have freedom, that means no one has a freedom. If any one of my people doesn't have the freedom, that means I do not have the freedom. Freedom cannot be divided among the people. So until each and every citizen of my country is treated equally, I will struggle for the freedom. This was his motto. I knew that the oppressor must be liberated just as surely as the oppressed. So here he says, now the whites are dominating the blacks. That means the whites were dominating the blacks. Now he says, not only should be the blacks be liberated, freed from this discrimination, even the whites should be freed from this. Why? A man who takes away another man's freedom is a prisoner of hatred. He is locked behind the bars of prejudice and narrow-mindedness, because one who is taking away the freedom is equally experiencing all the pain. He is experiencing the pain of guilt consciousness. He is undergoing the pain of taking away someone's freedom. So here he says, a man who takes away another man's freedom is a prisoner of hatred. He is being bound to hatred. He is locked behind the bars of prejudice, a prior judgment, having a preoccupied idea that this might happen. If I give equality to them, this might happen. A fear behind them and a narrow-mindedness. He is even locked behind the bars of narrow-minded. Even he is troubled because he is taking away someone's freedom. He is locked behind the bars of prejudice and narrow-mindedness. So he is also equally being troubled by taking away someone's freedom. I am not truly free if I am taking away someone else's freedom, just as surely as I am not free when my freedom is taken from me. So when someone takes my freedom, I am not free, that we all know. But when I am taking someone's freedom, then also I am not free. I am bound to guilt consciousness. My guilt would kill me. My conscience would prick me. I am really troubled with that. So here he says, the oppressed and the oppressor alike are robbed of their humanity. So both of them need to be liberated. It's not just the blacks who have to be liberated, even the whites have to be liberated. And here again he mentions that when the blacks get the freedom, again they should not retard to taking away the freedom of the whites. That is why he says that when blacks are liberated, they should not become the oppressor. So both the oppressor and the oppressed should be liberated, and the oppressed should never think of becoming the oppressor. That is why he mentions this paragraph. And this is an excerpt from the autobiography of Nelson Mandela. Hope this session was useful to you. Thank you for watching, and leave a comment in the comment box to let me know how you felt with this session. Thank you for watching and have a great day.